Today is an unusual day. We are going to learn how the expertise and the experience with writing and the educational background came in collaboration with a dream to produce an unusual novel. Could you please, our guest, our great guest today, introduce yourself and what you do for business?
Uh, sure. My name is NJ Porter. I'm actually an experienced case manager slash counselor with a background working with different individuals with substance abuse, child safety concerns, as well as individuals that have just been released from prison. So my background is very well um, very well diverse with working with and speaking to individuals with troubled background.
That's one side of the story. What is your background with writing?
My background with writing, I do have education in I have an associate's degree, I have a bachelor's degree. I was also working with my on my master's at one point. So when it comes to writing, I've had more than enough experience creating different papers for different courses, um, uh, and so I used that all that experience, and I've actually put it into creating this book.
How did the idea come to you?
Um, I want to say 2011. I believe that's when I actually had that premonition. It was a dream about someone being bullied, um, and I think that came along with after hearing about all those, uh, after seeing all those news reports about bullying and how it was affecting teenagers and so on and so forth. Um, that evening or one evening, I had a premonition about a young girl being bullied and uh, her going after uh, those individuals that had caused her a lot of psychological trauma. The difference between my story and other people's stories regarding uh, either bullying or psychological trauma in that manner is my character actually is at a psych ward receiving help. Um, However, she just wasn't able to still get past um, those psychological issues that she was dealing with. Um, and that's where I guess you can say that's where the premise of my story comes in, because working in the counseling field for as long as I have been, I've learned that people who struggle with psychological trauma, it's a long term issue. It's not short term. It doesn't just disappear one night and people are just okay with it. So that would be the same case with my story, Karman. This young woman who was bullied when back in high school is still something that was bothering her years later. So I need for people to understand if they whether they purchase my book or not, I need for people to understand that what you do to psychologically harm people can in fact be a long term issue.
Can you show us Carmen on the screen?
Uh,
Yeah, show the book.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's Carmen.
Right.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, fine. Put it back. She's so lovely. Yeah, so my other question is Carmen decided to go for vengeance and she was not able to forgive. Why did you decide to make her go that way?
um, the or the reason why I chose this route was because um, even when you seek help, even when you seek psychological help or of any help, any kind, it doesn't necessarily reduce or um, have your thoughts and all whatnot. Um, well, I guess what was the question again?
Yeah, why did you decide for Carmen to go for vengeance rather than forgiveness?
In this story, my focus was definitely to have her express the hatred that has built in her heart over the many years. She tried again to get past her trauma, try to get over her trauma. That's the reason for her being at the psych ward. But when she learned of, uh, I guess you can say, a special way of being able to go after these people, she preferred to do that. It was just, again, it was something that's been manifested in her heart for many years. And when she found a way to be able to seek her revenge, she went ahead and did that. And to be honest, I guess most people, if they were probably in her shoes, they probably would choose that avenue versus trying to forgive the people that caused her torment.
And what was her special way to be able to do that?
It was like black magic. I know when people look at the cover, they say that she looks possessed and all. No, her eyes are red because she's pissed off. She's just that mad. So she's not possessed. She's learned type of black magic, and she utilized that black magic to actually go after the people again that bullied her.
And what was the harshest moment she did?
I would say the harshest moment was at the beginning of the chapter. Um, Evidently, it's the first murder scene. She goes after a gentleman in the city within the like the downtown area, and I don't really go into details of that moment of what she did, but when you read the when you read the third chapter has a detective actually showing up at the crime scene and doing his investigation. And when he gets there, he noticed intestines on the ground. He noticed that one of the man's legs is amputated and across the alley. The other part of the gentleman or his upper half of his body is actually in a dumpster. And as he continues to investigate, he eventually notices that the other leg is on top of a fire escape uh, directly above him.
Why did she decide to do that?
Again, she was venting. She was letting all her frustration out. Again, she was really upset with everyone that was affiliated with how she was bullied back then.
And can bullying build up all of this hard emotions in a person's heart, especially a girl?
I believe so. Yes, especially women. And honestly want to say it's both men and women who can suffer from psychological trauma of that kind. And the reason why I say that is because I remember being, I want to say either 12 or 13 years old, and I still remember this one gentleman, this one guy that came up to the bus stop. He used to come up to the bus stop all the time. And I don't know why, but I guess he just had no other life. He went to the same school, but he wasn't catching the bus. But he would always come up to the bus stop and just mess with us at random, just saying things and all whatnot. One day, he decides that he wants to start picking on me. Um, as he was picking on me, saying all these names and whatnot, it bothered me to the fact that I wanted him to stop. But I never really got mad, at him saying these things. However, as he continued on, one day, I would say probably a few weeks later, he comes up to the bus stop, and of course, he starts doing the same thing, and he decides to pick on me again. But this time, he walks up and he punched me in my arm. That's when I actually had that moment of, okay, I'm gonna get this guy back. And I remember, I remember speaking to a new kid that had just came to the school, and he was catching our bus, and he was in a gang and everything. And I, I definitely remember asking him to bring me a gun, and I mean that's how pissed off I was with this guy because I just I, you can say whatever you want, just don't put your hands on me. Me being from up north, that's how we roll. You don't put your hands on people. Um, and I remember that day specifically because I think that had everything went the way that I was expecting it to go, my life would have definitely been a lot different. Um, because that friend or that new kid probably would have definitely brought me the gun that I asked for. So again, when I think of this story, Karman, uh, it definitely takes me back to moments where I've been bullied and how it made me feel. And again, I'm 42 years old now versus 13, but yet I still think about that. It's still, it's not an issue, but it brings up a lot of old emotion.
Okay, can these hard emotions force some people to do negative actions?
Yes, and I believe that depending on how active that person is, um, it could be something that it could be something that they would do possibly again like me. It probably would have happened within like a week. Um, some individuals um, they internalize this pain and they try to ignore it or deny it or try to overlook the fact that you know um, these situations are um, just as psychologically traumatic to them. However, in my opinion, all it's doing is just building up, and eventually, it's just like a bomb. Eventually, you're going to blow up, and when you blow up, it's not going to be pretty by no means. It's going to be a hell of a lot worse. Um, so, um, had like in the story here, even though I know it's a story, but had Carmen approached these bullies back, years ago when she was first experiencing this, she probably wouldn't have as much uh, um, rage and hatred towards these individuals. She probably would have gotten it resolved back then. However, over the years, because it's something that has never, uh, never really, it never really went away. It was still there. Unfortunately, it's going to, um, again, unfortunately, it's going to eventually have to come out. It's going to implode. So.
And how does Carmen feel after each vengeance?
Uh, I actually have her feeling a little satisfied. Um, and the reason for that is because, again, um, it was something that she's been thinking about for years. And of course, not really knowing how to pursue without, all the consequences getting called and things as such. Um, this black magic is something that was superb because now she can go after these people and there's really no way for anyone to find out. And that to me would be the perfect opportunity for anyone, whether it's something from your past or present, it's definitely perfect for anyone to actually pursue because nobody will never know it's you.
So my question is, if she has been bullied during her childhood and now she is taking justice, why does she need to be unknown?
That's a good question. I want to say because most people normally when they, however many years and whatnot, um, because of the status that she's in, of course, being at a psych ward, it's probably better not to show that you're not getting better. Um, because when you're talking with a psychologist, you're hoping that you and the psychologist are making some headway, some progress, and hopefully, say hypothetically, if you're locked away in a psych ward, if you're in a psych ward, you don't want to be there forever. You want to be able to leave soon. Well, she made it known that she was going after these people. Yeah, chances are they're not going to let her go no time soon, and chances are she's probably going to go to prison or some other long term, or maybe even face execution because you're basically a serial killer in this instance. Um, so yeah, that would have been probably her main concern was not being seen, so it wouldn't come back to the psych ward that she's not getting better.
So all of these emotions have been racked up during her childhood. How can a child understand that these hard feelings are so strong and are so serious while he is still young? Like things that happen at the childhood are not that important, but they are so important later on that they can change a person like Carmen. How can they balance between this and that?
Hmm. For children, and I try to give children a lot of credit for being intuitive. Um, they experience things with their parents, they experience things with their brothers, their sisters, and any other strangers. So dealing with traumatic incidents such as your brothers bullying you, you being bullied by your parents. I want to say that they do experience trauma a lot earlier than expected. However, they some children seem to bounce back from it, which I think is a positive thing. However, you do have some children who will internalize it, and when they internalize it, I honestly believe that that's where you will eventually have a child develop the same expressions of rage and frustration as Carmen does in the book. Because again, it's internalized. They have no one to talk to express these angers to. Um, if if they have a good friend or if they have family members or anyone whom they can speak to, I think that's definitely always a positive benefit for most children when they're dealing with uh, traumatical incidents such as bullying or child abuse or whatever the case is. Uh, that would be the best thing to have in their life to avoid winding up psychologically overwhelmed as Carmen is in the book.
Yeah, my other question is more socially directed. If bullying can be done in public and everybody can witness it, why isn't vengeance allowed in public?
Yeah, well, vengeance, especially depending on how you enact vengeance. If you're taking someone's life, evidently taking someone's life is wrong. If you retaliate, um, I would say much less later than at that moment in time. If you were to retaliate, um, not necessarily taking someone's life, but causing them harm, um, then I believe society looks at that as you taking actions into your own hands, and that's where society frowns upon. They do frown upon, of course, people bullying other individuals, but it's not it doesn't seem to be frowned upon as much as someone taking actions into their own hands. And I think that's where the difference comes in between someone bullying and someone defending themselves, but in more of a vengeful vengeful way.
Yeah, let's get back to Carmen. Is there a moment
Okay.
where Carmen would say to herself, enough?
No, no. Um, as a matter of fact, again, I think uh, I think like after her second or third uh, kill, she actually starts showing a little more satisfaction in what she's doing. Uh, so that enough? No, no. In the storyline, she's actually looking forward to the third and fourth and fifth person to go after.
Would her would this like turn into her passion, something she does for life?
No, and the reason for that is because she only has four people, or at least five. She only has five people that she has over the past few years, um, have honestly been thinking about going after. Those are the only five people. Um, so going after anyone outside of that, I really wouldn't see her actually doing that because those five individuals, she actually had a diary or a journal, um, keeping track of these five individuals. So that was like her that was her only focus. It wasn't anybody outside those five.
So after number five, would she say game over?
Uh, I would probably say so. Yeah, I think after I think after number five, she would actually look at trying to, um, I guess, gain a little more of her life back once she got past that. As long as she knew that those people were alive, she wasn't happy. She was miserable. You know, she still had uh, these memories. These memories were still haunting her. Um, so yeah, once she would have got past number five, I think, or once she would have reached number five, I think that's when she probably would have started to try focusing more on her future and getting her life back together.
And would a person who have killed or who have get rid of five people be a normal person again?
I want to say yeah, and the only reason why I say that is, if whatever that caused you trauma, um, or had you want to seek revenge, is no longer in existence, I want to say that that's when, um, someone would start considering doing things different in their life to try and completely move forward. It's probably only when, I guess, those memories, or not necessarily the memories, but it's only when uh, whomever caused you that trauma is either still causing you that trauma, or maybe they one day walk up to you and be like, hey, you know what, I want to apologize because how I treated you back then was just terrible. I knew I shouldn't have done it. It was a bad thing. Then maybe that would actually be another reason for that person to just let it go and start focusing on their future. But any other than that, I think that person is probably going to be hell bent on trying to seek revenge.
Yeah, my other question is about the audience, the readers of the book. Where is the weakness point of Carmen where people would identify with her, like find themselves in her character?
I would say at the moments when she's actually, hmm, I would say the moments that she's actually pursuing them, like actually uh, enraged and actually ready to take their life. And the reason why I say that is because, and of course, I'm probably speaking to uh, readers whom have also been bullied in their past. If they were, if they had a moment where they could actually confront their bully, um, that those moments where she's actually going after those that bullied her, I feel those readers would actually be able to relate to that because chances are they either felt like that before, or if they were in that certain situation, they might even do the same thing. Um, of course, that's, everybody's actions are different, but I really do believe that that's where a lot of them would relate to the story.
Yeah. What else would you like to say about the story?
Um, this my story has two premise to it. The first premise, of course, is to help those who um, maybe have bullied someone, because everybody, you got the bullies and the bullies. Um, for those that are causing or have caused, psychological harm or anything to that magnitude on anyone, I really would like for them to understand that what you do to other people can have long term impact. Um, I really would like for people to understand that. So when they are joking, whatever they want to call it, I really would like for them to actually rethink how they're joking. Again, I'm not trying to stop nobody from having their fun, because evidently they see it as fun. However, you the second premise to this book focuses more on those that suffers or has suffered or are suffering from psychological trauma due to people bullying them. It's really important that they seek the help that they need to seek. They talk to someone, whomever it is that you feel like you can trust, talk to them and get these emotions out, express these emotions, and try to find out if there's a way to get this person to stop bullying you, or whatever the case is, change the dynamic. This way, it reduces the amount of anger and rage that's building up, because it is. It's not going anywhere. It's still there. In addition to that, this would also be a time for both the person that's doing the bullying and the person that's experiencing the trauma from it to get together and hash things out. Whether it's, hey, listen, I apologize, or whatever the case is, um, that apology, I kid you not, would probably be the most significant uh, part of both people moving forward and moving past, all that trauma and whatnot. Some There are some people out there who may not want to get the apology. However, majority of people do accept the apologies and are willing to move forward. So this book actually encompasses all three. The bully needs to be mindful that what they're doing can cause long-term impact. Um, the person that's suffering from the trauma of being bullied needs to seek help, and speak to someone about these incidents, and get all this off your chest. Um, you know, um, and then of course both, if possible, if both of them can get together, and try to hash things out, shake hands, apologize, whatever it is that they need to do to just let this whole thing go so both of them can actually move on.
Yeah, it has been more than amazing, more than fantastic talking to you today. And Jay, thank you so much, and thank you. And I hope you have a great readership for your novel.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you for your time.
Yeah, have a great day.
Hey, you too, man. Thanks.